Ladies and gentlemen, if we get everyone to start moving toward their seats, please, at this time. We're about 2 minutes away from showtime. If you could please move to your seats, we'll get started here in about 2 minutes. Is here. Okay. Am I putting am I? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have your attention. We're ready to get started. Welcome to the 2023 Patriots Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is John Rook. Yeah, it deserves a round of applause. Sorry it has to be inside today, but it's an outstanding, it's an unbelievable pleasure to have been a part of this organization for the last 32 years that I have been privileged to be here as your voice here at Gillette Stadium. 6 times this franchise has won a Super Bowl championship, and we're looking forward to many, many more opportunities along the way. Today, we gather to honor not one, but 2 members joining the Patriots Hall of Fame. This year in a much more intimate setting, of course, than we're used to, but hey, we thank the rain throughout New England here, and we'll just leave it at that. But why has it been Saturday? Goodness gracious. Anyway, 41 years ago, in 1982, Dante Scarnecchia reported to work in Foxborough for the first time to coach the Patriot special teams. For 34 of his 36 seasons in the NFL, he patrolled the Patriots sidelines, coaching offense, defense, special teams, under the direction of 6 different head coaches and all 4 Patriots owners. Mike Vrabel took a little bit of a different route to Foxborough. After 4 seasons in Pittsburgh, he joined the Patriots as a free agent in 2001. He proceeded to play a huge role in the team winning 3 of the next 4 Super Bowls. He starred not only as a versatile linebacker, but also on offense and on special teams. These men helped provide us with so many amazing memories. And today it's our turn to make this moment memorable for Mike, for Dante, and for their families. Let's hear it for today's nominees. Now, before introducing all of the alumni in today's attendance, would like to invite 6 very special guests right here to the stage. They represent 6 of the most memorable seasons in New England Patriot franchise history. Six of our very best friends right behind me here, huh? All right. Today we are honored to welcome back our Patriots alumni. You know, collectively, they represent more than 250 years of Patriot service covering 5 different decades from the 1970s right through the 2010s. Please provide a warm welcome as I introduce the Patriots alumni in attendance today in alphabetical order. Please welcome offensive line, Tom Ashworth. Linebacker, Tully Banta Kane. Center, Pete Brock. Coach, Rick Buffington. Offensive lineman, Marcus Cannon. Defensive lineman, Rick Cash. Linebacker, Matt Chatham. Offensive lineman, Dan Connolly. Defensive coordinator, Romeo Crenell. Tight end, Lynn Dawson. Defensive back, Paul Dombrowski. Tight end, Christian Fourier. Defensive lineman, Jarvis Green. Offensive guard, Russ Holstein. Linebacker, Ilya Yaroschuk. Linebacker, Ted Johnson. Center, Dan Copen. And Dan is joined by his father-in-law and former Patriot running back, Mark Van Egan. Running back, Bernie Leggett. Defensive back, Ronnie Lippett. Offensive lineman, Stephen Neal. Linebacker, Rob Ninkovich. Long snapper, Lonnie Paxton. Defensive coordinator, Dean Pease. Special teams coach, Brad Seeley. Offensive lineman, Nate Solder. Guard, Len St. Jean. Wide receiver, Randy Vataha. Offensive tackle, Sebastian Vollmer. Running back, Robert Weathers. And quarterback, Scott Zulak. We also have some Patriots Hall of Famers here to welcome today's honorees. Before we introduce them, I would like to recognize Mr. Mark Santos. He's here representing his father, Patriots Hall of Fame broadcaster Gil Santos. All right, let's get this party started. He was the #1 overall draft pick in 1993. And he helped restore the Patriots to prominence. He guided the 1994 Patriots to their first playoff appearance in 8 seasons, engineering a 7-game winning streak to end the season. He led the Patriots to an AFC championship in 1996, and he remains the team's second all-time leading passer. Please welcome 2011 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, Drew Bledsoe. This player defined the team concept that was the trademark of the recent championship era. He played offense, defense, and special teams during his 15-year Patriot career from 1993 to 2007. He's the team's all-time leading punt returner. Ranks 3rd in receptions, he ranks 5th in receiving yards. He also happened to intercept 3 passes while playing defensive back in 2004 when he helped the Patriots to their 3rd Super Bowl title in 4 years. He now coaches receivers and kick returners for the Patriots. Please welcome 2012 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Troy Brown. This player was a lockdown cornerback for the Patriots from 1976 to 1982. He was one of 2 Patriots selected to the NFL's 75th anniversary team. He was selected to 6 Pro Bowls in 7 seasons with the team, was the first Patriot player to ever return a punt for a touchdown. He's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Please welcome 1994 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, Mike Haynes. After being selected in the second round of the 2001 NFL Draft, this player spent more than a decade protecting Tom Brady's blindside. He spent his entire career in New England, and he helped the team win 3 Super Bowl championships, 5 AFC championships, and 9 division titles. He's a member of the Patriots' 50th anniversary team. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Please welcome 2018 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, Matt Light. Bill Belichick referred to him as a generational player. He was the 6th overall pick in 2001, and he immediately became a dominant player on the defensive line and a huge part of 3 Super Bowl championship teams in his 4 years with the Patriots. He was named to 5 straight Pro Bowls in New England, was a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection, and is a member of the Patriots' 50th anniversary team. He was enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2022. Please welcome 2020 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Richard Seymour. This man was feared by his opponents as one of the greatest linebackers to ever play the game. He holds the franchise record with 100 career sacks. He holds the team record for most sacks in a season with 18 and a half in 1984, and his 35 sacks by a linebacker over a 2-year span remains an NFL record today. He was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008 after spending his entire career with the Patriots. Please welcome Patriots and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Andre Tippett. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great pleasure to introduce this afternoon's honorees. Please turn your attention now to the TV monitors in place for highlights of this legendary Patriots coach.
We gotta be at our best when it counts the most. No one said it's gonna be easy. We just gotta keep going back out there and chubbing.
Dante Scarnecchia, you will be a contributor going into this class.
Owner Robert Kraft's selection of Dante Scarnecchia as a contributor to the Patriots Hall of Fame confirmed what everyone knows about Scar.
He's the best assistant football coach I think there ever was. Dante was a big believer in fundamentals, and we drilled him every day. And we did the same drills, the same techniques, and it was taught. And as a player, I always thought that was easy to learn because you could start self-correcting.
Dante filled a variety of roles for the Patriots in coaching for 34 years within the organization. He was an assistant on 6 different coaching staffs for the franchise, coaching in 10 Super Bowls and winning 5.
It's not so much the ring for me, it's the memories that you keep drawing back on throughout the season. We've been fortunate to experience and we'll always cherish that.
I can't think of a better person to be inducted in the Patriots Hall of Fame than Dante Scarnecchia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming 2023 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Dante Scarnecchia. If you would now, please turn your attention back to the TV monitors for highlights of another 2023 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, one known for making big plays in the biggest games.
After 4 seasons in relative obscurity as a Pittsburgh Steeler, Mike Vrabel found a home in New England, emerging as an invaluable part of a Patriots dynasty and one of the most versatile players in NFL history.
Touchdown, Mike Vrabel. You don't come here to play this position or that position. You come here to be a football player. And the more you can do, the better it is.
Vrabel's 8 years with the Pats were highlighted by 3 Super Bowl championships and a propensity for big plays.
Hit from the ground. Patriots recover.
As a pass rusher, his 48 regular season sacks accompanied 7 more in 17 playoff appearances, as well as some of the most important hits in Super Bowl history.
Warner goes back to throw, and here's the blitz by Mike Vrabel. The pass is intercepted. Picked off.
When I think of Mike playing his best in big games.
Meanwhile, the same hands that secured 11 interceptions in New England gave Vrabel the skill set to stand out as a tight end.
Touchdown!
Remarkably adept in the red zone, Vrabel's 10 receptions as a Patriot all went for touchdowns, including 2 on the Super Bowl stage.
Brady fires, end zone, caught, touchdown. Oh, Mike Vrabel. All right.
With Mike, there is no question. He was our key part of the foundation of championship teams. He wasn't just here going through it. I mean, he was one of the real critical players, that everything was built on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming 2023 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Mike Vrabel. When he bought the New England Patriots in 1994, he vowed to not only keep the team here in New England, but also to help bring a championship home to the fans. I think he's delivered on that pledge. An NFL record 6 times, by the way. Under his ownership, the Patriots have qualified for the playoffs 22 times, won 19 division titles, 10 AFC championships to go with our 6 friends just behind me. He has also turned Gillette Stadium into one of the world's premier sports venues. My pleasure to introduce the chairman and CEO of the New England Patriots, Mr. Robert Kraft.
Great to be here. Well, welcome to the 15th Annual Patriots Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Today, we celebrate a number of firsts for these ceremonies. For the first time, we are inducting an assistant coach. For the first time, we are inducting an active head coach. And unfortunately, for the first time in 15 years, we've had to enact our rain plan and hold these ceremonies indoors. I don't think we could have picked another Saturday in the past few months that it didn't rain. Mike, I know how precious the time of a coach in the NFL is, and I can't thank you, Jen and Carter, for making the time during your bye week to travel and be with us and give us the privilege of honoring you. To everyone watching at home, thank you for tuning in. I wish you could all be here with us. And before I introduce this year's contributor, I would like to recognize the contributions of Greg Hayes and his team at RTX. When we first opened the Patriots Hall of Fame in 2008, we were proud to partner with Raytheon, not only to honor the greatest Patriots in our franchise history, but also to support the STEM curriculum that more than 20,000 students participate in each year during their field trips to the Patriots Hall of Fame. On behalf of Patriots past and present, we thank you and RTX for all your support over the last 15 years and for all you do for Patriots around the world who are serving our country. For those of you who don't know, the annual process for selection to the Patriots Hall of Fame starts with a committee of tenured media and staff who deliberate and nominate 3 former players or head coaches for induction. Then our fans make the final selection. I am very proud to say that we are the only team in the NFL to give the fans that opportunity. Now, when it comes to selecting a contributor, I personally get to make that selection. And I've had the pleasure of extending the honor to franchise founder Billy Sullivan, followed by our original voice of the Patriots, the great Gil Santos, and our beloved former cheerleader and cheerleader director, Tracy Sormonte. This year, it's my honor to recognize the longest tenured and most respected assistant coach in franchise history, the Honorable Dante Scarnecchia. You know, many football coaches act like Marine drill sergeants, but for Dante, it was no act. Before launching his career, he was a sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps. As a Marine, the sacrifice, discipline, and consistent commitment provided a foundation that served Dante well throughout his storied coaching career. He arrived in New England in 1982 with Ron Meyer via SMU and their Pony Express. His journey with the Patriots spans over 4 decades, a testament to his unwavering commitment and love for this team. You would be hard-pressed to find anyone who made greater on-field contributions over his 34 seasons with us, which propelled us to 10 of our NFL-leading Super Bowl appearances and helped us claim 5 of our 6 Super Bowl championships. Dante's contributions to the Patriots are not just measured in wins and losses, but in the countless players he has mentored, the lives he has touched, and the culture of excellence he helped foster. His influence extended beyond the gridiron, shaping the character of our team and setting a standard of professionalism that, in my opinion, is second to none. Dante's knowledge of the game, his ability to inspire players, and his relentless pursuit of perfection were instrumental in our success. His impact on those 5 championship teams cannot be overstated. But Dante's legacy is not just about what he did on the field. It's about the man he is off the field, his integrity, his humility, his dedication to his wonderful family and Susan and community. Those are the qualities that make Dante so special. And no one worked harder and was more prepared than Dante. He was always the first one into the building and usually the last to leave. So I want to thank Susan and the entire Scarnecchia family for the love and support they gave Dante that allowed him to perform that way throughout his entire coaching career. Today, we are not just honoring a great coach. We are honoring a great man, a great patriot, and a great friend. Dante, on behalf of the entire Patriots organization, I want to thank you for your dedication, your passion, and your unwavering 34-year commitment to the New England Patriots. Patriots fans, it is my distinct privilege to present the 33rd member of the New England Patriots Hall of Fame, 5-time Super Bowl champion, Dante Scarnecchia.
I'm glad we have this little thing I can stand up here so and meet this. Thank you all for being here today. I want to say that it's a complete honor to share this day with Mike Vrabel. I coached against Mike one time when he was at Pittsburgh and knew right then and there I didn't want to play against him again. I didn't want to coach against him again. And I was so happy the next year when we signed him as a free agent, and he came on board because this guy is one of the best players and one of the best teammates I've ever been around. Special person. I want to take a few minutes to introduce our family to you. My wife Susan and I will celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary next June 8th. If there was a Pro Bowl for coaches' wives, she'd have made it 48 years in a row. She's a fantastic mom, surrogate father during the football season, and just a special, special person. There were a number of times in our career, and I pluralize that because it was our career, that we would be faced with having the opportunity to move to another team. And hey, look, by nature, I'm a homebody and very, very pleased to stay in one place for a long period of time, obviously. And, but there would be times where she would say, look, we got to go. We got to make this move. And one of those moves was here. And because she had more clarity for those things than I ever did. So she would say that knowing full well that I would go immediately and she would stay behind and sell the house, arrange the move, okay? Take the 2 kids and move to a place she's never lived before. And that about says it all in relative to the type of person she is. Our son Steve and his wife Maddie came up from New Jersey for this weekend, and they have 3 of our 5 grandchildren. We have Reese, we have Rowan, and kind of halfway in between having Ryan coming into this world. We don't know if Ryan's going to be a boy or a girl, but it's going to be a Ryan. Our daughter Lisa is here with our other 2 grandkids, Braden and Cameron. Our family moved to New England in 1982. We moved into the town of Rentham, and we've lived there ever since. Rentham is our home. When something like this happens to you, I think the only thing you can do is to thank all the people that helped you get here. And that's what I intend to do today. Because I think today is all about the words thank you, and they're really important to us. On a personal note, I want to thank my parents, Tom and Josephine Scarnecchia. They gave me unconditional love and supported me in all my athletic and academic endeavors. They're no longer with us, but they're spiritually here, and I thank them for all they did for me. I want to give thanks to Robert Kraft and the entire Kraft family. Robert and Myra bought this team in 1994, and I'm sure they had a vision of what they wanted, okay, relative to a lot of things, the team. But all you have to do is take a look around here and see the stadium, Patriot Place, the Hall of Fame, and you see manifested that vision. And I thank them for everything, and I thank them for this day, and I thank them for their generosity for this day. And as always, it's first class. I want to acknowledge the Patriot fans, and I know this is really alumni and family and everything, but we're all fans, but it's kind of like beyond that. I've always categorized or defined Patriot fans as hard but fair, okay? If we play out there and we stink it up, they boo like hell, okay? And they got a right to. If we play good, they cheer really good. And when we win the championship, the world championship, there's 500,000 of them in Boston yelling like crazy. And I appreciate everything about them. I want to thank you and our family. Oh, wait a minute, I lost my place here. Okay, got that. I want to thank you. I want to thank you to all our family members and friends that have come to Foxborough from as far away as California and from a lot of places in between. Thank you for being here. A lot of former Patriot players have also come from all around the country to be here today. You being here means more than you will ever know. A lot of former players, a lot of former teammates, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I want to thank the 6 head coaches who hired me to coach for the Patriots. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for letting us live here for 34 of the greatest years of our lives. I want to thank the many assistant coaches that I shared office space with for over 34 years. I learned a lot from all of you, and I cherish our friendship, accomplishments, and times together. The backbone of any successful organization are the support staffs, and I want to take this time to acknowledge them. Upstairs is the administrative staff and marketing and all the important things for running a business. Thank you for all you do. Downstairs where the football players are, and I'm going to say them all, and I say it to give the thanks that they deserve. The training and medical staff, the strength and conditioning staffs, video and IT, the scouting and personnel staff, football operations that do so much for all the players, equipment staff, field maintenance staff, nutritional staff, media relations, community relations, Kraft productions. And if you've ever been in our building, you'll know the importance of the kitchen staff, because that's an eating circus in that place. And all the people that serve the food, they're unbelievable. And lastly, for me, every night during the season, 11 o'clock at night, the custodians would come in, and they'd ask our permission to empty the trash barrels, and if we didn't mind if they'd run the vacuums on the carpet. They're wonderful people, and I thank them for all they did for us. Thank you to the many players I had the privilege to coach, and that includes special teams, tight ends, defense for 4 years, and offensive line. Thank you for being attentive. Thank you for buying in. Thank you for the hard work in the meeting room and on the practice field. Thank you for practicing like winners and playing like champions. Thank you for establishing and maintaining a culture that was conducive to winning. Thank you for all those things. And thank you, most importantly, thank you for putting up with me, okay? I know I wasn't the easiest coach to play for. I believe a coach's job is twofold. Number one, tell the truth, okay? And number two, all right, provide solutions. So 2 examples of that are this. If everything's going pretty good, you don't have a whole lot to say, but keep it up, keep doing what you're doing, okay? And just maintain that. If it's not going so well, it could sound something like this. This isn't very good, it's unacceptable, and here's what we need to do and make it better. I wish I could tell you I was that diplomatic in saying it. They all know. They all know. Obviously, it wasn't diplomatic, and you know, I wish I would have been more diplomatic and less vitriol. And nah, hell, it was good. In conclusion, I suspected I would do something in coaching at a very young age. When I left Montebello High School, I was highly influenced by the coaches that coached me there and knew that that was what I was going to do. Okay, I was going to be a football coach. That was my dream, and I lived it for 48 years. That in itself is a reward that I should always cherish, and I do. That's all I need, okay? To be up here today and to wear this red jacket and stand up here with these guys is very special. To them and to all of you, I once again say thank you.
Coach Scar, thank you very, very much. Quite an honor to be up here on the stage with you. At this time, if you'd please give a warm welcome as I invite former Patriots offensive linemen Matt Light, Dan Copen, Nate Solder, and Sebastian Vollmer to share the stage with Coach Scar.
Doctor. Yeah, this is when things get a little bit less comfortable for Coach Scar. No. You know, I tell you, the words thank you, that was the the embodiment of your speech here. And I think that for all of us sitting here, I'm not sure that we had ample enough time during our playing careers to say thank you. And maybe it was the undiplomatic approach at times. I don't know. But you always did tell the truth. You always had our back. And we are definitely very thankful. And thankful to be in this position to enjoy this moment with you and celebrate what has been an unbelievable career. And again, you know, what I'm really excited to hear is how these guys came into the league and saw you, because I know what my experience was, all right? As Coach would tell me often my rookie year, Light, you don't know if the ball's pumped or stuffed. I honestly didn't even know what he was saying about that either. I mean, I didn't know where New England was located. I was just a kid from the Midwest who went on this incredible ride with some incredible people. But I do remember the first thing that he got real with me on. And I remember the old office in the old stadium. And I remember I had a problem with narcolepsy. Now, I had to look that up, and it's taken me a long time to figure out how to say that. But I walked into Coach's office and I said, hey, Coach, look, I know you're big on everybody paying attention and really putting in a lot of work, but I fall asleep when I'm not actively participating in things like film study or when you're up there on the board coaching. I said, so I don't want you to think it's disrespectful, but I've got this thing called narcolepsy. And I remember he looked at me and he goes, Light, you fall asleep in my meeting and I'll kill you. Right out the gate. And I thought, well, this isn't going to work real well.
Am I on here? Okay, good. I want to put an amendment on that, because he told me an example was, he says, Coach, I fall asleep in my car while I'm driving. And I said, Matt, you'd be a lot better off falling asleep in your car than you would in this meeting.
Right back to death, right back to death. So, you know, I came into the league. It was an interesting time in Patriots history. Cope, you followed not too long after me. And, you know, there had been a little bit of this, let's call it the dynasty. We can actually say that now that we're out and we've been able to watch this dynasty unfold. Cope, you came in. We had a little bit more to talk about here in New England than maybe when I came in. And give me your first impressions of being with Scar.
Well, I mean, some things never change when Light gets a mic in his hand. He doesn't stop talking. So I think that's pretty much standard.
Thank you.
And you also smartly positioned your chair right in front of where Dante was, so he actually never knew when you were falling asleep. You know,
Because he could sleep sitting up like
yes,
this.
and he didn't move. You know, I came in obviously after 01 when you guys won it, 03, and just tried to fit in. I think his coaching speaks for itself, and the group that he collected and how he, you know, cultivated our culture. It was second to none, and you know, he taught us through a lot of different things. You know, we learned slide protection with Steven Stills, right? Love the one you're with, yes, right? Absolutely. Yeah, love the one you're with, and I guarantee if I say this, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You know, so he taught us a lot about geometry and angles, and more importantly, you know, he just was able to give us the tools that we needed to succeed out on the field. You know, if we were in a bad situation, he would put us in a better situation with maybe a switch call or whatever it was, but he always knew the answer. And that was pretty special to have. And I think, you know, everybody in here and guys who couldn't make it owe a lot of their careers to this man right here.
That's a fact. You know, it's a good point you brought up. I think we heard earlier this idea of first in, last out. And that definitely resonated with me when I heard that, because this guy was the first guy in most cases, last guy out. Not that I would know that because I was the first guy out, but but Cope, you know, you talk about the discipline and what you learned and how we learned it, and I think we did that, you know, pretty in a unique way. I heard other guys talk about locker rooms in the National Football League. You know, you talk to your guy, hey, do you guys put pads on Fridays? No, never. Oh, all right. Well, it's a little different over here. You know, what's your line room like? And I think we had a very unique line room. I think there's a lot of dynamics, and I think that what you hit on is so true.
The red button? I mean, so I don't know. I don't want to go too, like, the one thing in an offensive line room, you know, you got 300, 320-pound guys who you talked about eat a lot, right? Yeah. So, and at that time, it wasn't necessarily healthy, but the man, remember, you weren't allowed to fart.
Yeah.
Like in the meeting, in the middle of a room, we're watching film, and a guy would just get up and walk outside, and 2 seconds later, he's inside. And you knew what he was doing, but he had manners. And the one thing he would get the most upset about was when someone let something go.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
It's a really good point. Yeah, I remember being deathly afraid of letting a squeaker out. You know? No good. No good.
Okay, all right. But it was distracting when you're trying to conduct a meeting and 6 guys have their T-shirts pulled up over their nose. So if I didn't know, I would just throw somebody out of the room, and then they'd give up the guy that did.
That actually is true, too. I remember those moments. All right, Sebastian, you know, you get here, and there's a lot happening in the Patriot realm, right? There's championships, and there's high expectations, and you leave, you know, a really good college program, and you end up with this guy as your coach. Now, unlike Copen, right, because we all knew that the centers, for some reason, Scar had a soft spot. He never really got on the center.
We paid attention.
Well, and they're typically the smartest guy in the room, so yeah, there's probably some reasons
And
for
they
it.
never slept.
And they never slept. You walk in, tell me your experience as a young guy with Coach Scar.
So Dante worked me out at Houston, and it was probably, I don't know, like March-ish. And then I didn't hear anything from the Patriots for a long time, right? So it was like, you know, college guy, didn't want me, all that stuff. Anyway, so I get drafted, and I walk into the building, but like when he worked me out, like he was this like great teacher, soft-spoken, you know, explain slide protection, Rita, Linda, and you do all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, that would be awesome, that would be great, yeah, I can't wait. So I get drafted, and I'm walking in there like, you know, 2nd round pick, here we go. It's like, hey, you mother. And it's like, that changed. I'm not sure what happened. What did I do? I've been here for 5 seconds, and it's like, did you read the sign on the door? No, sir. Don't call me that. I was like, oh, my Lord. So that was my first impression, but I always say, like, when people ask me about Dante, you had 2 choices. You get better or you quit. I don't think there was anything in between. And a lot of guys that didn't grow up in the system, I think they did quit after a couple days. Like in training camp, there are guys from other teams, and it's like, I ain't doing that. But so I remember, like, you got hurt, and I started on the left side. And it was me and Logan, and I think, yeah, it was against the Titans, 59-0, obviously a great game for us, and he called a switch call. Anyways, so a different blocking scheme we didn't practice. I blocked the linebacker, Lawrence Maroney behind me, like 59-yard touchdown. I'm like, yeah, like you're awesome. And yeah, no, we didn't practice that, so we're not doing that. It's like, hey, there's a future Hall of Famer next to me. Logan, I'm a rookie. Logan makes the call. I'm going for it, right? It worked out. So anyway, so we get in our butt shootout. Now, like looking back, it makes a lot of sense. The next, like we just start doing our own stuff that wasn't practice, and you know, it's not the call we had put in. So I always get that as an example. But either way, you get better or you quit. Like there was nothing in between. And quite honestly, I don't think I would have played for 8 years here if Dante wasn't there. So you know.
And if people quit, it wasn't the result of this guy, because how much time did he donate on his free time with new players that came in, free agents, rookies? You were always meeting with people one-on-one on your own time.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't an easy environment. It didn't matter what room you're in. High expectations. We won for a reason, and it took a lot of people to make that happen. I think it was very unique, though, from an offensive line perspective. You know, it's the most guys on the field at one time, right? If you include the tight ends, maybe, and I'm sure some defensive guys would argue, although they get to tap out. You know, let's not get into it, Mike. But you know, it's a dynamic environment. But now we have Nate coming in, and I remember I walked into the facility and I was like, they shouldn't be allowed to make humans like this. I mean, the guy has 0% body fat. He can run like a gazelle. He's ginormous. The sun blocks out when you're behind him. And, you know, we got to spend a little time together, but I think you were part of that transition where, you know, I don't know if it was the championships that softened him a little bit, but he wasn't full tilt. And you were through this interesting time, say the second wave of kind of the Patriot dynasty, and talk a little bit about what you saw in Scar and again, how you came into this offensive line room and what sticks out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, imagine my perspective coming in watching you guys on TV, knowing all the glory and all the things you had been doing. I was in college as a kid coming in. These are grown men, and I'm stepping into this. He might think that I'm big and strong, but I'm terrified of these guys, you know, just the intimidation factor. And Scar has made an indelible impression on me because I think Mr. Kraft, you said it the best, it was the culture of excellence. And I did not know, and nor do I think most people know what that means to be a part of a culture of excellence and how hard that is to attain or to work for. And that was what Scar introduced me to. And harder or easier or whatever, he pushed as hard as I've ever been pushed, and it brought me to a level that I did not think that I could get to. And so I'm thankful for that because I don't think I would have had a career, like Sebastian said. I don't think that I would have known what it meant to be excellent in this league or in life. You know, I just don't know if that's a part of our culture, of what we do. I think sometimes you might even call that abuse to someone if you push someone that hard, but it's just such a necessary part of what but you know, and he got grumpy, but that's because he wasn't sleeping enough sometimes, you know. It's like he's sitting there at 3 a.m. It's like, you guys got to get some sleep here, but like I said, it was quite the honor to be a part of all this stuff and to step into it. I remember the first time he addressed me, it was the lockout, and I'm about to meet Bill Belichick, and I'm terrified, I'm intimidated, and he goes, you know, let me just sit down. I thought he was going to give me words of encouragement or something. He's like, we don't give a who you are, where you from, what you've done. He's like, and he's going to tell you that. And by the way, I walked into Bill, and Bill's like, hey, nice to meet you. How are you?
Well, listen, first of all, just love being up here with you guys. Love seeing everybody. It's a big reunion. We have a lot to get to here to celebrate another guy that we spend a lot of time with, most of us up here. But I just want to close in this. Susan, Lisa, Steve, incredible that this is your father, okay? Incredible. And I say that, yes, incredible.
I think we should go out and practice right now.
I want to end on this. Look, I have this colored jacket on, and I owe the majority of that to this guy. So it is without any question that your impact on the players that served in that offensive line room for this team were impacted by you and how you did business. And as tough as it was and as difficult as it's been sometimes, as many times I look at my wife and be like, he said nice things to you? Really? You're talking to Dante, right? I know the man that you are. Your family obviously has known that for a long time. And now the world gets to see what you've done. And it's just been an honor to be able to share this day with you and with you guys. Thank you, guys.
That was great. So today we also honor Mike Vrabel, one of the most efficient receivers of all time. And he was also a pretty good linebacker. You know, the late, great Buddy Ryan once famously described future Hall of Fame receiver Chris Carter by saying, all he does is catch touchdowns. Well, no disrespect to Chris, but that iconic quote is a much more accurate description of our own Mike Vrabel. Mike is the only player in NFL history to catch at least 12 passes and score a touchdown on every one of them. Think about it. You know, I guess it wouldn't be accurate to say that's all he did, because Mike did so much more. Whether the need was on offense, defense, or special teams, in games or in practice, Mike was always ready, willing, and Vrabel. There was no one who values versatility as much as Coach Belichick. but there's no way Bill could have predicted how valuable Vrabel would be when we signed him as a free agent in '01. Mike was not the most heralded free agent signing, but he quickly became one of the most important ones. Over the next 8 seasons, Mike was a key cog in a defensive unit that helped us secure 6 division titles, 4 AFC championships, and 3 Super Bowl victories. In each of those Super Bowls, Mike's contributions were critical to the team's success. In Super Bowl 36, Mike's pressure on Kurt Warner forced that errant pass, which Ty Law intercepted and returned 47 yards for a touchdown, leading to a 2017 victory. In Super Bowl 38, Mike's second quarter strip sack of Jake Delhomme was his second sack of the game and led to a Patriots touchdown. Then trailing 22-21 in the fourth quarter, Mike caught a 1-yard pass from Tom Brady to take the lead en route to a 32-29 victory. And then finally, in Super Bowl 39, Mike scored yet another touchdown, this time on a 2-yard pass from Brady, despite being held by defensive end Javon Curse on the play. It gave the Patriots, remember that? It gave the Patriots another 3-point win in a Super Bowl and our 3rd Super Bowl title in 4 years. Mike's Super Bowl performances underscored his playmaking abilities, which he consistently displayed throughout his career. Like the game against the Jets on Monday Night Football in '05, when he became the first player in NFL history to record a sack and still score 2 touchdowns in a game. Or against the Washington team in 2007, when Mike recorded 3 sacks, forcing Jason Campbell fumbles on each one and recovering an onside kick to preserve the victory during that undefeated regular season. On and off the field, Mike was a natural-born leader. He was a mentor to younger players, a voice of reason in the locker room, and a man who led by example. His wit, timing, and delivery always seemed to be the perfect antidote to lighten the mood in some of those serious team meetings. His unique blend of toughness, strength, intelligence, work ethic, and versatility earned him the respect of his coaches and teammates alike, and a place among this franchise's all-time great players. Mike, this Hall of Fame honor is well-deserved and long overdue. I'm sure you would have been in years ago, but after beating the Patriots in 2018 and then knocking us out of the playoffs the following year, you might have lost a few votes with the fans. Mike's last year with the Patriots was in 2008, the year we opened the Patriots Hall of Fame. Inside the hall, you can find thousands of images of former Patriots. But from the day we opened the hall, there was only one player featured outside the hall, and that was Mike Vrabel. Today, Mike will join the 33 other members inside the Patriots Hall of Fame, where his legacy will be preserved as one of the greatest in franchise history. Mike, you might be a titan in the industry now, but to us, you'll always be a Patriot. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 34th member of the Patriots Hall of Fame, Mike Vrabel.
I promise you I'm not going to take this for granted, because I think that spending 8 years here and the success that we had, I think you could all say that we probably took it a little bit for granted. To Logan Mankins, I'll tell you a quick story about Logan. I was watching the draft, which I watched every single draft as I was a player. And as we drafted Logan, they kept showing highlights of Logan, an offensive lineman, just keep chasing his D lineman down the field and knocking him on the ground 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to deal with that guy at training camp. And sure enough, that's what we had to deal with at training camp. To Coach Parcells, I would say that I've gotten to know him as I became a coach, and I will tell you one thing that he says that will always resonate with me and our football team, wherever I'm at, is that he has a saying that he says that losers assemble in small groups and they bitch and complain about things that are going on. And winners get together in large groups and figure out ways to help the team win. And I think that that's just a great reminder, and I'll always tell him that I appreciate having read that and having coaches shared that with me with Coach Parcells. So would like to tell them that they'll get their day, just like when I got mine. My son Carter reminded me that, Dad, 7th time is actually the charm for me. So I had been on the final 3 for quite a few years, but I appreciate Carter's sense of humor. To Dante, congratulations, Dante. Believe it or not, I have a 23-year-old son who plays offensive line, Tyler. And Tyler now works with Dante in the offseason. He's on the practice squad with the Falcons. And you talk about coming full circle, and you see the pictures of Tyler when he was 3 years old or at the Super Bowl in Houston and up on that podium. And now Dante is working with him just like he worked with these guys. And as every day went by, Dante had asked me about Jen and the kids and my family and how they were doing. And then I'd kind of watch him coach, and I think, man, this guy's a great dude, but I'm glad he doesn't coach linebackers. Because Big C and I, Richard Seymour, we would talk, and we're like, man, we remember when we shared the wall with the offensive line, and we were like, I don't know what's going on over there, but I don't want any part of it. But Dante, congratulations. You didn't just coach O-line. I think that's the thing I'll always respect about you. You cared about the entire football team, O-line, D-line. You were a competitor. But Dante knew that it was bigger than just the offensive line. And yeah, he was a hell of an offensive line coach. But he would go through that locker room and he would make sure that, the rookie DB or the receiver, he knew that it wasn't easy, and he knew this league. And so I always appreciate that about Dante, and that's the kind of coach that I wanted to be and still want to be. So congratulations to you, Dante. I want to thank our fans. I want to thank our fans in New England. The amazing support that I had when I played here. The amazing support that I've had when I've come back to coach here. And when I say I haven't been back, I've been back 5 times. Okay, I've came back as a coach twice with Houston, twice as a coach with the Titans, and this is my 5th time since 2009. When I walked in and when I got a phone call in March and said that I was being traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's how it goes. And I think I probably didn't know what this was going to be. But it is, I want to thank the teammates that came back, the former teammates, because you just kind of go on about your business. You go on to Kansas City, you go to work, you coach football, you go to your next stop, and I think you lose sight of what this actually was and what it actually meant. And I don't want anybody to do that when they go away from here, because anytime that you're associated with a Hall of Fame, with an organization that has the trophies that this one has behind it, I don't think you take it very lightly. And again, I just remind everybody, don't take what you have for granted, especially what we had here. So our fans that encouraged us, Mr. Kraft, thank you so much for your support as a player, your presence as an owner, as a player, your respect as an owner in this National Football League, as competitors. Never passed up an opportunity to come and say hello to me on the field or at a meeting. So I want to thank you, the leadership that you've shown in this organization, to your family, obviously the work that they do and around this city and what they do for our country in the courage of patriotism and doing what's right and standing up for what's right. So thank you, Mr. Kraft, and to the Kraft family. Much like Dante, just so many people to thank, starting with the personnel staff and everybody upstairs and the marketing. And, our personnel staff, I think that they knew from an early time that it wasn't, rarely did we have, maybe we had some of the best players, but we always had the right ones. And that was the most important thing that they were looking for. And obviously what they did. And the people in the cafeteria, our training staff, and the ones that are here, and Jim Whalen, the ones that knew just how hard to push you and knew how hard they had to go to get you back and how quickly it was that they could get you back and treat you. And just the trainers, the equipment staff, all the people that Bill every year would introduce and explain to us that these people are here so that you can do your job better. That's the only reason that they're here, and they took great pride and great satisfaction in it every day, whether that's the cafeteria, the training room, the equipment room, the strength staff. Mike Wojcik would, he'd tell me to bring the kids in on a Tuesday morning, let them run around on the weights so that I could get a lift in and still have time to hang out with my kids. And all those people that helped us do our jobs, the assistant coaches that had us prepared, Romeo Crennel and Dean Pease are here. And I played for these guys, and I coached with them. These guys taught me football. These guys taught me professional football. I learned a lot from every stop that I made. And I want to thank them for just giving me the guidance and the leadership to love this game that we're all a part of and that we all want to be that we want to pass along to our children, our family, our friends, and we're just fortunate enough just to be a part of it. I want to thank my parents. I'm an only child. Only children are spoiled. That's the facts of life. That's what happens. But I will tell you that they taught me the value of hard work, and they taught my dad taught me the value of loving to be a part of a team. He was a basketball coach, and he just said, man, this team is, every team you're on, just pretend like those are your brothers. If you're going to have one of them stay the night, all 10 of them are going to stay tonight. Like, that's just how we're going to do it. And so I always appreciated that. Yep, I had new shoes, I had new shirts, new jeans, I had jerseys. I did. So it's only children are spoiled, but I appreciate the fact that they taught me the value of hard work and loving to be a part of a team. I want to thank my friends, that hold me accountable. I want to thank my wife, Jen, who's been, since Ohio State and this journey that we've had, this football journey. I want to thank Tyler, who's with the Falcons. I want to thank Carter, one of the toughest people I know, just for putting up with all these stops, man. Every 3 years, it's like pick up and move. Can't imagine going through high school or middle school and dealing with, just what you deal with. So, I love you, buddy. Thank Bill. Obviously, we all played for Bill. And the one thing that you always knew is whether you agreed or disagreed with what he did, eventually you ended up respecting it. And I think that's all we have to ask of our players. And I'm speaking as a coach now, but is that you respect the decision because you were making them with the team's best interest in mind. And speaking of the team, I want to thank my teammates, the ones that pushed me. I never started a game for 4 years. So I showed up, and all I wanted to do was start for this team. I wanted to start, and I wanted to show to Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis and Brian Cox and Roman Pfeiffer and all these guys that I belonged, and Ted Johnson. 4 years. So everybody's got a different journey to the National Football League and into this league. And first-round pick, seventh-round pick, free agent. Mr. Kraft and Bill, they broke the bank on my signing bonus. It was less than my rookie signing bonus when I got drafted. So Brian Cox came in, and I was 51. And you show up, and it was like I wore 3 different numbers in Pittsburgh. It was every time somebody needed a number, they just took mine and gave it to somebody else. So I got here, and Donnie Brosher gave me 51. Didn't mean anything to me. So Brian Cox, we signed Brian Cox. Well, it meant something to Brian Cox. So I parlayed that into a couple $1,000s. I said, well, I didn't get a very big signing bonus. I said, you give me $10,000. I said, you can have 51. I'll move to 50. Locker. It's not a very long trip. 50 is right next to 51. I can just move my stuff right next door, and we'll be good. But all I wanted to do was start. That's it. And none of us had any idea. And C was drafted, and Matt was drafted. You know, and by the way, I've learned that if you want to be a good outside linebacker, play next to defensive linemen like Richard Seymour. And if you want to be a good coach, draft guys like Richard Seymour. That's what I've learned, because that players make for great coaches. And Dante will tell you that, and everybody involved will tell you that. But it was the teammates that made this thing. It was hard, but I don't think it ever felt like work. And guys did retire. In 2001, we had 2 offensive linemen, Dante. Remember those poor guys? They retired in training camp. These guys had started on other teams, and they retired in the middle of training camp. Little did they know that we were going to go on and win a stinking Super Bowl that year. We were 5-5. We were 5-5. The team was 5-5. Won 9 games after Thanksgiving. And, you know, I just am so appreciative of everybody. We held each other accountable because there was trust, there was an understanding, there was a respect. That you could say things that needed to be said to each other. And every day, that's what I'm trying to recreate. Wherever I coach, and now it's in Tennessee, obviously, but I'm trying to recreate what we had in that locker room. And I don't know if we'll get it, but we're going to try. Every day I'm going to try, because nothing was more important than the team. Not your feelings, not your stats, not your paycheck, not what you'd done in the past. Nothing was more important than the football team. And guys had to know that coming in. And the guys that were here before me made me aware of it, just like, you know, I was able to make other guys aware of it. I mean, I'm proud of being voted a captain on this football team. Football team that has so many great players. Like, I didn't take that lightly. That'll probably still be one of the biggest honors I've ever done, is being voted a captain with some of these guys that were on these teams and having the opportunity to be a captain. You know, so the only thing that mattered on the team was what you could do to help us win or lose. And the amazing thing was the more we won, the more individual opportunities were created for each and every one of us, whether that was on the field, off the field, post-career. Like that's what we all need to understand, is that the better the team did, the more opportunity that we had individually, and it allowed us to have other opportunities, you know, here and everywhere else. But, you know, this is just an amazing opportunity that I don't want to take it for granted. I'm so thankful of the teammates, the organization, the coaches, you know, the fans. And yeah, I mean, when you I'll have to never forget, you know, you get a call and you tell, you know, I was in the last year of my deal. You know, when you're 33 years old and you're in the last year of your deal, you try to get some more security. And so it was like, hey, you know, would like to talk about a contract extension, or maybe, you know, I could probably end up somewhere else. Be careful what you ask for, because you end up somewhere else. That's how that goes. And it took us a while to get, you know, all the Patriot jerseys that Carter had accumulated over the years, the Welkers, the Bradys, the yada, yada, same, on, because he was young and he still loved the Patriots, and we all did, and we'll always love the Patriots. And to be able to come, thank you, but to be able to come back here in this regard and not have to worry about coaching a football game or anything else, I'm very appreciative of this. So thank you to the Patriot organization. Thank you to Mr. Kraft, the Kraft family. Thank you, Bill. Thank you to my teammates. This is an unbelievable honor. Thank you.
Mike, thank you. I'd like to welcome now former teammates Drew Bledsoe, Ted Johnson, and Richard Seymour, along with former defensive coordinator Romeo Crennel and Scott Zolak to the stage.
Congratulations to you on being inducted into the 2023 New England Patriots Hall of Fame. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I thought this video message would be appropriate. You are definitely one of the smartest football players that I've ever played with my whole entire career. And it shows for you right now as being an NFL head football coach. Hope that you and your family enjoy all the festivities that they have for you at Gillette Stadium. And go Patriots.
Vrabes, what's up, brother? Man, this is long overdue. I wanted to congratulate you on being the newest member of the Patriots Hall of Fame. Well deserved. And I gotta say something. I get a lot of credit for the interception in the Super Bowl and, hand in the air, all that good stuff. But that is just as much your interception as it is mine, if not more. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to catch that easy-ass ball. So thank you for putting the pressure on them. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for helping us win these championships. Thank you for being a hell of a teammate. Congratulations on becoming a Patriot Hall of Famer. Welcome to the club, bro. Well deserved.
Congratulations, Mike Vrabel. You're in the Hall of Fame. Well deserved, my brother. You always worked so hard, always put the team first, and was always the smartest guy in the room. So proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. God bless you, brother. Enjoy it. You deserve it.
All right, we'll get Mike back up here. I'll try to talk less than Matt Light. I know that's pretty much easy to do, but
good luck.
Great panel here. Former teammates of mine, Drew Bledsoe, Ted Johnson. Didn't get to play Richard. Richard, you got 16 snaps in you for tomorrow. Either here or Tennessee, right?
He's coming back with me.
I know. He's like, Ted, you look great too. And Romeo Crennel, who always had a bag of M&Ms in his back pocket. Did he still do that in Houston, Mike? Back in the days in Houston?
No. Rosemary had him on a diet back then.
All right, it's great to be up here. Great to see everybody. Great to see all the ex-teammates, coaches, Scar again. Congratulations to you and your fantastic family. Mike, you mentioned, when you signed here, and you talked about the signing bonus. It wasn't great. What was the attraction to come here? Because back in '96, we were 11-5. Team started to have sort of that downward spiral. And then by the time you got here, we're looking to fix things. What was the attraction to come here other than the big money they gave you?
It was opportunity. It was opportunity. It was Pittsburgh would love to have you back. You know exactly what the role is going to be. It's going to be a third outside linebacker and a special teams. And Bill was at the time obviously saying, not going to guarantee you anything. You'll have an opportunity to start. Okay, you can play outside linebacker still. He laid out the role, and that was the only other option. So that's why it was the best option.
21 free agents that year Bill brought in. Sort of unprecedented. Was it ever chaotic that summer? And we'll get to these guys, but do you remember this is a zoo?
Yeah, everybody, it was like we were freshmen. We all needed name tags on the front of our helmet. We had to put the tape on the front of our helmet so we knew who everybody was. It was, and the holdovers were just amazing. Drew and Troy and Teddy, Kay Falk and Willie, Tyler. The holdovers were like dudes. And it was like, okay, here's how this is it. And you guys are all new. We held on. We must have been doing a good enough job, and now let's figure this out.
All right, I'm going to start with Richard here. Richard, you guys came in together that first year. Obviously, you played inside. This guy played outside. How impressive was it to play with him? How did he help impact your career as things moved on?
Well, first let me start by saying this. With Mike getting in, and obviously Coach Scar getting in, he said, hey, see, the offensive linemen are going in. It's going to be a lot of offensive linemen here. I need my defensive guy here with me today. So just for all the fans out there, offensive and defensive linemen, we look at each other, we see each other, but it's always a little something here. So Mike V was like, hey, see, let's go on up to New England this weekend. But anyway, one of the most impressive things that I can say about Mike is he's probably one of the greatest teammates that I've ever had. And I think all of the guys here that probably would say the exact same thing. Like just how he was as a teammate, you know, what he'd be willing to do, what he'd be willing to say and give you. Like, I mean, he's, you know, he's a guy. I see why he's a coach. We played beside each other, and he'd always be like, hey, see, we got the read it game. Here's what we're going to do. This is what – I don't want you to think. I'm going to think I got the plays. So Mike Vrabel was always my guy.
So that's why you can see he's a coach now. Ted, he mentions that linebacker room. Teddy Bruschi,
Yep.
Roman Pfeiffer, Brian Cox.
Yep.
He sold his number to. How did he incorporate himself eventually? Because you and I were there, 96, 97?
Yep.
What year did you come in, 94?
Yeah, 95.
So you were there a good 6 years before you got there.
I was. But, you know, real quick, before I tell you what I thought of him as a teammate, I got to tell you, my first impression of Mike's was when he was with the Steelers. And Mike was a decorated collegiate player. I mean, at Ohio State. I watched him at Ohio State. But I knew who he was when he got to the Steelers in 97. And this might hurt Drew a little bit when we bring this up, but you know the division.
You're gonna
we're going
do
there.
this.
We're going there. But we played the Steelers in a division round that year in Pittsburgh, and we had a chance to go down the field and win the game. The final score was 7-6, and we just needed 20 yards, Drew. We needed 20. Come on back.
There he goes.
It happened, bro. It happened. We just needed 20 yards to get into field goal range to win the game. And the rookie from Ohio State, Mike Vrabel, sack fumble, and the game is over. So he knocked us out of the playoffs, that guy right there in 1997. So thank you, Mike, for that. All right, so there's that.
It was the best play I made in 4 years, and Drew held on to it way too long. He should have got rid of the ball.
Get rid of the ball, Drew.
It's that extra pat.
Love you, Drew. But I'll tell you.
I flew all the way from the West Coast for this. This is what we're going to do.
Sorry, pal. I absolutely love playing with Mike Vrabel. If you've ever heard me on Sports Talk Radio in Houston for 7 years and then the last 5 years here in Boston, you know how I feel about Mike. He's unmatched as a teammate. First off, he's just a high-quality human being. If you've met his parents, you know Jen, Carter, Tyler. It's a wonderful family, and he comes from good stock. And Mike's high character, high quality human being, that's first off. But funny, oh my God, one of the funniest guys I've ever been around. Smart, intelligent, charismatic, charming. As Jen rolls her eyes like, oh geez.
I need to find that person because that guy is gone right now.
But what I would say is when he came in, he raised the compete level. We had a high compete level in that linebacker room, but he even raised it. I mean, we had to compete on everything. I mean, just everything we did, it was a competition, and that was partly because of how Mike was wired. You know, he was wired that way, and we had a unique room of linebackers. They're all just very good at their own skill set. And they say there's two ways to keep a job in the NFL. Either you're pretty good at a few things or you dominate at one thing. Mike was really good at a lot of things. He was one of the most complete all-around football players I've ever played with. And that's saying a lot. I've been around some great players, but Mike was, to me, the all-around best football player I've ever played with. And his passion, his energy is unmatched. I swear, I think you have Viking blood in you, bro. I don't know what it is. This guy, we can come back from a West Coast game, and we're in the weight room at 6 in the morning after the buses get there, and he wants to get a workout in with me so we don't have to come back later in the day. It's just, he's a unique human being. And
time management. That's just good time management.
It's unbelievable.
Being efficient.
But, and then our Friday workouts with the bench, of course, how's your bench these days, by the way?
Not as good, but I had long arms. I benched more than you.
You did, you bastard.
And it used to drive you crazy.
All right, I'll wrap it up. But absolute best, one of the best teammates I've ever been around for all those qualities. And no surprise, he's the head coach. I told old John McClain there at the Houston Chronicle years ago when Mike came down with Coach O'Brien's staff. And I was in Houston doing the radio down there. I said, this guy's going to be head coach one day. And sure enough, here he is. And I'm honored to be here, and I was honored to be his teammate, one of my absolute best ever, Mike Vrabel.
Good job, Ted. That's longer than you, Matt Light. I'm gonna go over to Drew Bledsoe here. Drew, you had the pleasure to play with Mike and against Mike. Talk about how that impacted the way you had to play against him. And also, we look at the touchdown catches he had. It was you and Charlie that sort of had the mindset, let's keep him after practice, let's work on him playing tight end. How did that all evolve?
Well, first of all, it's much more pleasurable to play with him than against him. I think we've covered that. Thanks, Ted, bringing that up. But, in addition to, intelligence and leadership and talent, one thing that's unique about Mike is this sort of annoyingly relentless energy. Almost like a young Labrador, right? You got to run him. You got to run him. You got to burn off some energy, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. And Jen, you're a saint. You've lived with this for a long time. But Mike, the way that it started, if I'm recalling correctly, was in pregame. You were getting ready to play an NFL game, and he's playing special teams, defense, all this stuff. But he had to go burn off some energy before the football game. And so we would go out in pregame. I'd go out early, and he would go run routes, and he'd just go run around. I had to go, seriously, like a Labrador, I had to go run him for a little bit so he could settle down. Well, we're out there, and watching him run around, this guy actually looks pretty good, running around and catching the ball. And Charlie noticed it, and next thing you know, he's now the most efficient receiver in the history of the NFL, which is all due to me. So, Mike, for the red jacket.
That is all true. That is all true.
For the red jacket, for all the accolades, and all of your success, all I have to say is you're welcome.
Thank you. It would be like 3 hours before the game, and Drew just trying, and I'm like, I would run from the right side, run from the left side. And I was like, as long as I don't have to block Dante, I'll go on the goal line. As long as I don't have to block on a run play, I'm all set.
But I'll finish and then you can go. But I will say that it's interesting to me that we were only teammates for 1 year. And one of the best things I'll say about Mike is that it surprises me to think that was only 1 year, because you were such an impactful person just in 1 year as a teammate. It's no surprise that you've gone on to great heights in leadership.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, I'm going to let Romeo Cornell wrap this one up. Romeo, you played him inside, you played him outside, you dropped him in coverage. Guy could pretty much do anything. I think Bill said his first year he had no mental errors in every single snap. What impressed you the most about him as a player and eventually as a coach under you?
Well, one of the first things about Mike, I don't know whether he knows this or not, but our personnel staff had pointed him out when he was at Ohio State. We liked the size, felt like he could be an outside linebacker in our scheme, but Pittsburgh took him, all right? And he ended up not being a starter down there, but he did everything he could, special teams, backup, everything he could. And then when he got to us and we had the chance to get him, I think that what he said about wanting to be a starter had a lot to do with making him the player that he is, okay, the coach that he is, and why he's wearing the red jacket right now, because he wanted to come in and prove that he could be a starter. And so he did everything he could to be that starter. Like you say, he's smart as a whip, okay? He studies, he's competitive, he wants to win, all right? And that's the way he played. And even though all of that happens and he's sitting here, he still has a pretty decent sense of humor. Because you saw that eagle imitation he did after he caught that touchdown right there, all right? Well, after we get to the new stadium, we're putting pictures on the wall in the new stadium. And it seems like that somebody decided to put a postscript on one of the pictures. Because, you know, with these cameras and lenses, you can get guys in awkward positions. And so that was an awkward position. The postscript was added, and I cannot say it was Mike, but all I know is Mike got called into the office, and they talked to Mike about the postscript, you know. But that goes to his sense of humor, and I remember it because I thought it was kind of funny myself. But
I just said the things that everybody else wanted to say. That's the problem.
But that was good. I remember that. Okay, and so the next part as a player, then he goes into the coaching field after he's coaching at Ohio State, and we're down at Houston. Okay, and Billy O, he calls me and offers me the coordinator's job, and Mike doesn't know exactly what he wants to do because I think Billy O had offered him a job. And so we talk about coaching, and I think that some of those things that make him a great player also make him a great coach. And I mean, you know, he went down and took this Tennessee team and a couple years there in the playoffs, and so I know that he can get it done. I know what coaching means to him. I know what the game means to him. And because of all of that and those things that he just talked to us about when he was at that podium about teamwork, everybody being a part of the team, everybody has to be willing to make the contribution to make the team better. And that's what he believes in, and I think that he will continue to be one of the good coaches in the NFL.
Great stuff. Great stories by these guys. Mike, congratulations. Gentlemen, go ahead and take your seats. I think we've got one more speaker on the docket. I'll turn it over to John Rook.
You know, it's now my pleasure to introduce and welcome back one of the most successful coaches in NFL history. Since taking over the Patriots in 2000, he's guided the team to an incredible 17 division titles, 9 AFC championships. He's the only head coach in history to win 6 Super Bowls. He's won 330 games as a head coach. Please welcome Patriot head coach Bill Belichick.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to see so many former players, coaches, Hall of Famers, and video guys. Great to see everybody here today. You know, it's always a great event, you know, to have the Patriots, Kraft family welcome somebody, you know, one of ours into the Hall of Fame. And certainly the two today are two of the most deserving people that could possibly be inducted. And I think it's been said multiple times. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the way that both Dante and Mike felt about the team and their unselfishness and their commitment to the team, T-E-A-M, team, in every sense of the word, I would say just puts them on a level, on a pedestal that very few other players or coaches that I've worked with, you just can't put them up there. You know, these two guys are just magnificent. So I kind of start with Dante. You know, Scar and I worked together in '96. I came here, you know, in the '96 season after Cleveland with Coach Parcells. And defensive staff was Dante, myself, Al, and Romeo. And man, I love working with those three guys. It was a fabulous year. Had so much enjoyment, learned so much, and we obviously had a good year. You know, came up a little short in New Orleans, but I mean, it was an amazing year, and it was amazing staff to be a part of. And then, you know, of course, 3 years later, you know, coming back after, you know, Dante had been with Pete and had coached the offensive line, and, you know, look, Scar's had a ton of experience coaching special teams, defense, offensive line. I mean, he's done it all, and has a great understanding of the game, time management, roster management. You know, Mike talked a little bit about, you know, how he would, you know, hit different players in the locker room, not necessarily offensive linemen, but any position. He just had a way with everybody that, you know, kind of knew the right thing to say. Maybe they didn't want to hear it, but knew the right thing to say, knew how to, you know, motivate people and could, you know, get the most out of them. And so I was very, very fortunate and, you know, lucky that, you know, Scar, you decided to stay here, you know, in 2000. And, you know, I know you had some other options, but, you know, it certainly worked out well for all of us. But that was really probably one of the key hires, rehires actually, that we had here. And so, I just can't tell you how much, we leaned on Scar for, pretty much, everything. Again, no matter what the situation was, would be scheduling or, handling a team, maybe a tough loss, maybe going into a game, whatever the situation was, his experience, his knowledge, and again, his always doing what was best for the team, not necessarily what was best for the offensive line or for him or whatever, but here's what's the best thing for the team. Like that opinion was always, carried a ton of weight, and that's the way a lot of things went, was, kind of based on his recommendation. Two stories that just really pop into mind are the, with Vollmer. We drafted Sebastian Vollmer. Seabass was a pretty inexperienced player at the University of Houston, and there's some really good things on tape, but he was young, he was inexperienced, and there were some things on tape that didn't look so good. And that was a big one. For Scar to take a look at Vollmer and like, do we want this guy or do we not want this guy? Like, we know he's got some talent, but is it ever going to come together? Is it, is this guy going to be all right? And I mean, came in his rookie year, ended up playing left tackle. Matt, I think you were out. And blocked Freeney. Yeah. Because I know you're not coming back up here again, so I'm sure you roast me when you get a chance. And so, since I think I'm the last guy in the lineup here, I'm going to. But anyway, Scar, came back with a recommendation on Vollmer that, like, we want this guy. And as it turned out, Oakland, who was picking right behind us, would have taken him if we didn't take him where we did. He ended up starting left tackle, right tackle, and, and really had a great career for us. And then, a couple of years later with Solder, it's kind of the same thing. The way they played it at Colorado at that particular time, the offensive line kind of just backpedaled and stayed in front of the defender between him and the quarterback. But they always ended up in the quarterback's lap and got shoved back a lot. And I just couldn't turn a corner on Nate. I just, does this guy have enough power to play? He just plays so soft that it just doesn't, and so it was the week before the draft. And I said, look, the only way I'm going to turn a corner on Nate Solder, Dante, is if you go out there and work this guy out and come back and tell me, we're going to be okay with him. Because I just can't see it on the film. I just can't get comfortable with it. I was all right. Gets on a plane, flies out to Colorado, works him out, comes back, and he says, Bill, this guy's got a lot of power. It's what they teach him to do. It's the way they do it. This guy has a lot of power. This guy's going to be a really good football player. Within 1 week in the spring, I'll have him straightened out, and you won't ever have to worry about his power because he has a tremendous lower body, and he's a very explosive player. All right. So, Nate Solder. And Nate, of course, not to get sidetracked here, but like Seymour played nose tackle his rookie year. Wilfork played defensive end his rookie year. Solder played tight end most of his rookie year until we could finally get everybody settled, after this. But this kid came in and did a great job. And again, that's just a story to tell you how much we relied on Scar's, on Scar's evaluations and his opinion. And, that was really, it was Scar on Nate Solder all the way. If he had come back and said, nope, then it would have been no. So, thank you. Thank you. So speaking of offensive tackles, another one we had was a kid that we signed from the Bears, Big Cat Williams. And so he had played several years with the Bears, and so we're out in training camp, and Big Cats. And they don't call him Big Cat for nothing. And this guy, like 6'8", 3, whatever. I mean, he blocks out the sun. You're in the shade when you're around him. And so it was about, 4th, 5th, 6th day of training camp, and this frustration's kind of coming on. And I can still see Scar yelling at Big Cat, but he's looking straight up at him like this. It's like, Big Cat, you don't use our techniques. That's why you're not doing this right. You're not having any success because you keep doing it your way, and your way's not working. So you better start doing it our way, all right, or you're never going to be any good. And he's looking straight up in the air. And Big Cat's looking straight down at him. And I'm thinking, like, any second now, Big Cat's just going to. So, kind of like, boy, he got an earful. So, offensive line's back there, standing on a huddle, run a couple more plays, whatever. And, Big Cat's there, and Scar's, hey, has your family moved in yet? Did you guys find a place to stay? And that's the way it was with Scar. It's 5 minutes after he ripped the player's head off. Dan commented, hey, Dan, how are your kids? How are your two kids doing? How they like school, Have you moved in? He had a great way of teaching, of getting his point across, and very, very effectively, but a great teacher, a great fundamental teacher, and a great scheme teacher. And so a lot of our successful plays, running plays, pass protections, having to handle some of the, the pass rushers that you deal with in this league, and some of the, teams that we, the great pass rush teams like the Steelers, teams like that you've got to, figure out how to block. He was Charlie, Josh, Billy O, worked seamlessly with all those guys. And, you love working with Scar because, and when I got here in '96, that was another thing too that kind of shocked me. I got here early, sometimes I'd get here before 5 in the morning, not before Scar. His car was in the lot when I got here. Didn't matter what time I got here, his car was in the lot. When I became a head coach, same thing. Come in early, Scar's car was there. He was never, I don't think I ever beat him into the office, honest to God, not one time, or needed anybody else. I mean, he had tremendous work ethic and tremendous production. And again, his sense of doing what was right for the team was, was really, unparalleled. And, same thing about Mike, honestly, the very same thing about Mike. Mike was, everybody's talked about it, and it'd just be redundant to talk about what a great teammate he was. But so I'll go back to the beginning with Mike, and Romeo mentioned it. In '96, you go to Ohio State, and so we were at a different team at that point in time, all right, and had the first pick in the draft. So we all know who that is, right? And so we go to Ohio State, and Orlando Pace is working out down there, right? So we have Orlando Pace down here, and then we have Sean Springs and Ty Howard working here at corners, and we have Rob Kelly, right, working over here. And we got these two guys down here, Finkus and Vrabel, two defensive ends. And so kind of all the actions up here around Pace and Springs and Howard and Rob Kelly and those guys. Did I leave anybody out? Pretty good group. It's a pretty good group. So, and just like Romeo said, and we were playing a 3-4, right? So we're playing a 3-4, and we like Mike. We took Ferrier in the first round, so that kind of knocked us out, and then Mike went in the third round to Pittsburgh. So, but it kind of went back to that workout there at Ohio State where, we have a chance to get this guy. Like, this is what we're looking for: long, strong, tough, smart. Not a bad place to start. And so, really, I think when you look at free agency, Mike Vrabel will be kind of the poster child for, what free agency can bring to players. 4 years behind two really good players at Pittsburgh, had an opportunity to come here and showed what a great player he was. He was certainly a good addition for Willie McGinnis. I found that out at the Giants when we had Lawrence Taylor, and I got Carl Banks. Carl Banks helped Lawrence Taylor be a better player. Lawrence Taylor was a great player in his own right. He didn't need any help. I'm not saying that. But having another great outside linebacker to go with Willie, with Mike, really balanced it off. You didn't want to run at Mike. You didn't want to run at Willie. You didn't want to run away from either one of those guys either. So that was a great situation. And Mike continued to play in the kicking game. He was always on the punt team, kickoff return, kickoff team when we needed him. He was always there to do those jobs and was in tremendous condition. Mike could take every play defense. He could take every play scout team if he wanted to. He could run all day and could go all day. And so he took a lot of scout team plays, which was, that got a little testy at times with some of our offensive players, especially the quarterback. So there were teams that we would play. Pittsburgh was a good example. Teams that we would play at Pittsburgh, and they would have players that were kind of unpredictable. Like, you didn't really know what they were going to do. And Palomalu was a great player. But sometimes he'd blitz on his own. Sometimes he'd, line up on a line of scrimmage and run to the deep part of the field. Sometimes he'd line up in the deep part of the field and come running full speed and blitz. I mean, you just didn't know where he was going to be. Sometimes he was in the deep part of the field, and he'd run underneath an in cut at 10 yards and intercept it. So I'd stand up and tell the team, all right, look, we got to really watch out for this guy. Palomelo's gonna, he's very instinctive. He'll, you don't really know what he's gonna do. He could be all over the place. So get into practice and, kind of turn around and look up, and there's Mike playing free safety. He's got the Palomelo jersey on. And he's diving down and breaking up in cuts when he's supposed to be 25 yards deep, and he's blitzing when he's supposed to be in coverage and sacking a quarterback and just generally disrupting practice. And our quarterback's going crazy. It's like, well, he's not going to do that. He's not going to be it. And Mike say, hey, Bill said we don't know what this guy is going to do. I'm your man. And of course, in retrospect, Tom looked back on it. You know what? I mean, he really taught me to, I got to be careful where this guy is because that's the way he plays. And so that was pretty, that was an example of Mike on a practice field. Cover kickoff, scout team, didn't matter. He was always there and always competed. And, I'd say, Mike, Rodney Harrison, I mean, those guys, every play was pretty much full speed. There was no plays off with those guys. Mike had a, look, this is still a PG audience, all right? Mike had an edge to him. I think, we've all talked about his sense of humor and so forth, and I don't know if you agree, Jen. Yeah, I mean, but Mike's got an edge. And he would say some things that probably a lot of other players wouldn't say, but I think, but could kind of get away with them because of the respect everybody had for him, and he was funny. He was funny. So I walk in there, this is in 01, and, announced, as part of the, morning announcements, all right, so, Wednesday, so, all right, so tomorrow we're going to have weigh-in, before squad meeting tomorrow. And Mike's sitting in the back of the room, and he yells down, hey, Bill, it's not the players you should weigh in. Why don't you weigh in the coaches? So we'll go through the roster here. We got Romeo, Rob Ryan, Mangini, Ivan, who was heavy at that time, Brad Seeley, Pepper, Jeff Davidson. The only guy that really would make weight that was in great shape, there he is right there. It broke up the room. You couldn't do anything but laugh because honestly, you look around and, all of us are, overweight, except for Dante. And Mike, flat out called us out on it, no doubt about it. But as many of, Mike's teammates have alluded to, Mike's a very intelligent player, very smart player. Let me just say, the tight end thing, I was always kind of amazed at the tight end thing, and I got to give Charlie and Dante a lot of credit on this one too, because we used him on the goal line, but we never ran behind Mike, ever. It always went to the other side. And I'm like, we keep throwing the ball to Mike, but they know we're not going to run behind him. Like, this can't keep working. But it did. And so we ran him across, and then we ran him to the outside, and then we ran him across, we ran him to the outside, and, with good backs, guys like Corey Dillon, guys like that, and so many people up there stopping the run, he was able to spring free, and Mike had great hands. And so 10 catches, 10 touchdowns. I mean, I'm not arguing with it, man. It's a production business. So, but just in terms of the, defensive unit, and C talked about it, Mike was a very good situationally aware player. Not only could he understand what, he was doing and what games to run with the line and stuff like that, but, timeouts, down and distance, score, situation, weather, all those kind of things. He was always kind of one jump ahead on that. And, on the sideline, as we were talking about the situation, get ready to go back in, he was the type of player that would always bring up another point of like, hey, this is a good, remember they did this in this situation, we saw it on film, or, hey, this situation, let's be ready to, do this, or that type of thing. He's always one step ahead. And it was very easy to picture Mike as a coach when he was a player. It really was, because he was very cerebral, but at the same time, Mike is one of the best fundamental players that I think I've coached. And I've coached a lot of linebackers, but Mike was a very good fundamental player. Use of his hands. Mike's long. He's very strong, very stout, and has a good feel for how to rush against those long tackles. That, obviously it's why he's wearing a red jacket. I mean, he's a very, very productive player. But his leadership and his intelligence that he brought to our team, not just our defense, but I would say even the coaching staff. There's a lot of times that, you just kind of ask Mike, hey, Mike, what do you think about this situation? And whatever his answer was, it's either what you were thinking or something that maybe you should be thinking about. So, just can't tell you how fortunate I feel like, we were to get Mike. Look, the signing bonus, you should talk to your agent about that, Mike. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell you. That's why you have an agent. But it really was. It was about opportunity. We've all, taken our lumps for a good opportunity, and then if you can make that opportunity, if you can make that work into something else, then that's really where it is. But Mike did a great job of that, and that season that he talked about, we were 5-5 halfway through the 01 season, and then won 9 straight. A lot of those wins were close games, kick returns, defensive turnovers, the interception in the Super Bowl between him and Ty, things like that. Like that's what a lot of that year was, and I think after the success that we had that year, not that it really took a long time for guys like Mike and Bobby Hamilton and AP and Pfeiffer and all the guys that we brought in that year to establish themselves, but like the credibility at that point was just it was very strong, and the team just got better for the next 3 or 4 years. So it was a great honor for me to be here to speak of both of you, Mike and Dante. Thank you for all you've done for me, my family, our team, our organization. Certainly those banners up there wouldn't be flying without your contributions. And see, Matt, Drew, same thing, and all the other guys that are up here too. Great players win games, and as Romeo said, they make you good coaches, and so. Very fortunate to have some of these guys that are in the Hall of Fame, but most recently here, Mike. Really appreciate all that you did for me and all that you did for our team. And sorry about the trade to Kansas City. I mean, we've covered that one, so we'll leave that one alone. But appreciate everyone coming out. Appreciate your support and your attendance and your attention. So thank you very much, and congrats, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for attending our 15th induction ceremony for the Patriots Hall of Fame, presented by RTX. And as we conclude this ceremony, I'm going to ask our Patriots Hall of Famers to stay up here on stage, if you would, guys, with Mr. Kraft for a few final group photos. Please note also as well, the Patriots Hall of Fame is open until 5 o'clock tonight. So thank you. And most importantly, for tomorrow, forever, go Pats!